The Empowerment Show aims to equip individuals with the necessary tools, knowledge, and confidence to make informed decisions and take control of their lives. It also focuses on ensuring access to essential resources and the opportunities.
All right. Good evening. Good evening. How's everybody doing this evening? I hope everybody had a good weekend. My weekend was pretty good. How was yours, Brother Yates?
I can't complain, brother. It was pretty good.
So, for those that are viewing in, thank you for tuning in to Stevenson and Yates. We practice what's known as Politrics. We let you know about all the tricks, and without the treats, because we're not getting any treats with the tricks. We're just getting a lot of tricks right now. But we're here to kind of advise you and let you know and give you our opinion, our stand on how things are going in our economy and in the political world. Brother Yates, you got something that you wanted to start off with. We wanted to get more into that big better bill. I think that's where we left off at last week with that big better bill. You know?
Yeah, it's a big BS bill, is what it is.
Mhm.
And what's amazing to me is that the people in this country are, and I guess I'd have to say it's probably more so the MAGA base is allowing this to happen. For, and I'm talking about specifically Black and brown people. After the end of segregation, we worked out some compromises with the government, which we probably shouldn't have. But we worked out some compromises, one of which was affirmative action.
Mm.
And that gave some of us jobs, not all of us, some of us. Well, during that time, a lot of Black and brown people entered into, the public service jobs, the civil service. And for many Black and brown families, this was a step up. And for generations, each preceding generation did little better than the generation before. Then along came Ronald Reagan. And one of the first things he did when he got into office, he began to break the unions. First thing he did, he fired the air traffic controllers. Shortly thereafter, he fired the Greyhound bus drivers.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to go on strike, you're not going to have a job. And that was the sentiment from government during that time.
Yeah, that's kind of like the
Then,
foundation of what we got going on now. That was
absolutely.
right. That's what that was. That was the foundation. I remember back during that time, things were a little bit shaky as far as politics were concerned, especially when it came to Reagan.
Well, you know what? It's layered on, right? So what one does, the next administration continues on. So during that time, Reagan convinced the American people, and let me just say this, it was Reagan that first introduced the slogan, "Make America Great Again." It was not Trump, it was Reagan. And Reagan was able to convince people, just as Trump is now, that certain things, well, you don't need those things anymore. For Reagan, it was things like pensions. It was things like health care. It was things like your savings, right? It was called trickle down economics.
Mm-hmm.
Up top, there's a waterfall. Down below, it's just a trickle. And you know something? The American people accepted that. They said, okay, you know what? Look, I'm a red-blooded Republican.
Right,
I gotta support my president, President Reagan. Even if it costs me my pension, even if it costs me my life savings, even if it costs me my ability to send my child to college, I'm a Republican. I gotta go with it.
Oh, they're doing that now. What's that? A lot of the mega base. They're
The
doing
MAGA.
that now. Yeah, the MAGA.
Right.
They're loyal to Trump, no matter what he does. If he takes away your health care, he's good to go for the country. If he takes away your Social Security, he's still good to go for the country. He takes away your institution for education, he's still good for the country. All of these things that he's been taking away from us is almost like to punish us. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. And here's what I find just amazing. This bill slashes Medicaid, slashes Medicare, slashes food subsidies like SNAP. It guarantees that the president, Donald J. Trump, cannot be held in contempt of court. The only way the courts have to maybe stop him from some of his crazier ideas to hold him in contempt. And now this bill takes that away. But what's amazing to me is people are sitting by while they're going to lose their health care. They're going to lose food off their tables. But you know what has them pissed off? The fact that Trump doesn't want to release the Epstein files.
Yeah. Come on, man.
You don't care about the food on the table. You don't care that you can't go to the doctor. That doesn't matter. Just tell us who's in these damn Epstein files.
Right.
What does that matter? Right? If you can't feed your children, what are you going to do? Here, eat this page? I mean, come on. What difference does it make?
No, Trump would tell him to eat cake. Remember that?
Right. But I mean, if you get the Epstein files, right, what are you going to do? Fry it up and serve it? It makes no difference, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, the things that are most important, your well-being, the well-being of your families, education. Realistically, as I said, every preceding generation was doing better. Now we have children that graduate college and come right back home because we're not producing high-paying jobs. We tell these kids, oh, just go work at Walmart. Really? You just left college and you have $200,000 in debt. You're going to go work at Walmart?
It's funny, man. Right now, I remember working. I made more money than my kids make. And I had less education than they had. But
and that's
the
just,
salary was higher. When I heard that the salary was like, they were trying to get it up to $15 an hour, I had to turn my head. I was working at night the whole time, so I really didn't pay much attention to the general salary or what the salary was for regular, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they said $15. I just had to shake my head. When my son came home, he said he was making $20+ an hour, and it was good. I was like, "That's good, wow." Well, it's like we're going back. We're not going up because back,
And that's my point, right? That 40 years ago, you got a city job, right?
Mm-hmm.
You were able to leave home, get an apartment, buy a car, right? Take vacations, set aside something for savings. Those days are over, right? So now you have these kids moving right back home because realistically, for this generation, and I'm talking about these kids who just graduated college weeks ago. You got a degree, but what are you going to do with it, right? I mean, a long time ago, back, when Reagan was president, we decided that it was cheaper for American businessmen to send the jobs overseas. And we've been doing that steadily. It's still happening. Here in Pennsylvania, you see some of these small businesses, right?
Yeah, you don't got to do talk about the steel industry, man. That's just the steel industry. Boom, it's gone. That was our biggest commodity here in Pennsylvania was the steel industry, and it's gone.
Well, you know something? I'm glad you mentioned that because Trump, when Biden was president, there's a Japanese company that wants to buy one of the few remaining steel companies in Pennsylvania. Trump said it's a bad idea that we should control American steel. Trump just signed off on the transfer of this company to Japan. So basically, everything that he said he would not do, he's doing it.
Well, he's a liar. And everybody knows he's a liar. I mean, come on, since he's been in politics, man, he's a liar. Even before politics, he was a liar.
Mm-hmm.
You can't believe a word that man said. No, actually, you can't believe what he says if you take it and point the finger back towards him. Like when he calls somebody a criminal, and just take it and point it back towards him. He's always talking about himself. Even though he points the finger at somebody else, he's always talking about himself, the crimes that he committed. I want to see if he signs this bill what is it for the first immigrants that they're gonna if your mother or father were born in another country and you were born here, the Equal Rights Act or something like birthright.
Birthright citizenship, which he
Right,
wants
birth.
to take away.
Now, this is what I want to see. So if he takes that away, being that he's the first generation here, right? And
Hmm.
he's a convicted criminal, is he gonna deport himself?
You know, he was asked that by a reporter, and he got so angry, right, and lashed out at the reporter. But you got to understand something. Trump, in Trump's mind, there are laws, and then there are laws that do not fit his agenda.
Right.
So if you commit a crime, according to Trump, he's the law and order president. You should be punished. If he commits a crime, well, then it's a different story.
Right.
If he commits a crime, well, it's a witch hunt.
Yeah, that's
You know, I
it's a
mean,
witch hunt.
right. And of course, they just fired a member of the Justice Department. I think it was yesterday. This guy would investigate financial corruption. All of a sudden, Pam Bondi fires him.
Yeah,
Why?
because she's a crook too.
Well, you know, they all are.
Yeah,
And,
man.
you know, when I look at this administration and I listen to what they have to say, you know, it is so eerily reminiscent to me of Adolf Hitler and the people that surrounded Hitler. It's exactly the same thing.
The only
You
thing we're
know,
missing is the brown shirts, man. You know, they had the brown
and
shirts. The only thing we're missing.
we're not really missing them because today they're called ICE, right?
Well, that would
And
be your SS, right?
well, you know, the brown shirts were taken over by the SS, right?
Right.
But you know, what we have, and you think about it, the Ku Klux Klan also covered their faces.
Mm.
So I wrote a piece the other day and I said, well, if you look at these folks, these masked individuals that say that they're ICE, you know, they're not, they don't appear to be typical Klan members, but they do many of the same things.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you may not be wearing a typical Klan uniform, but you're doing pretty much the same thing. You're rounding people up, denying them due process, sending them to places like Alligator, Alcatraz.
Alligator Alcatraz, right? And
And
due process is actually your constitutional right, regardless to whether you're from this country or not. And once you get arrested and you're here in this country, you have the right to due process, and that's what they're circumventing that. They're just snatching them up. Like the one kid, they keep saying that he's MS-13. And they're saying no, he's not. No, he's not. But they keep piling on these crimes on him that the man never committed. It's
Abrego
crazy.
Garcia.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think what's happening with Kilmar Abrego Garcia, I think what's happening is there was a huge public outcry when it was discovered that this guy was deported unlawfully,
Yep.
that he had not committed a crime, that he'd been in this country for years, that he was a productive member of society. There was a huge outcry. Even some of the MAGA base was saying, what the hell are you doing? Bring this guy back. I think what this is smoke and mirrors. I think that the charges against him are not going to go anywhere. I think they brought him back to this country after they said they could not. Now all of a sudden you can, and now you're going to put him on trial. What evidence are they going to present? They have none. So I think this is a way of Trump saving face by saying, well, he could always point the finger and say, well, it's not me, it's the criminal justice system that let him go.
Yeah, I just listened to Bondi. She was questioned about this young man, and she just kept going on and on, saying, well, he's still a criminal, and we're going by what Trump, pretty much she says, we're going to do whatever Trump says. So I imagine that we have kings and lords and dukes, because it seems that's the way we're living here in this country right now. We're the paupers. Then you got the lords and the dukes that's higher up on the echelon. And then you got King Trump.
Yeah. You know, for years, right, this country has been sliding toward authoritarianism. This didn't start with Trump, right? You know, this goes back, and as I said, each administration, they pick off when a previous administration left off, and they take it a step further. Trump is just an extreme example, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
he has never really been used to being told no or hearing the word no. You know, it's like if a woman says, "Oh, Donald, I'm not interested." "Oh no, baby, you interested? I'm gonna follow you in the bathroom and rape you."
Hmm.
You know what I mean? "I'm gonna walk up and grab you by the genitals." What do you mean no? Right? So he's never heard those things. So when you have lived your life where you are a child of privilege and you've never been told no, and mommy and daddy never explained to you things like humility, you know, things like empathy, things like understanding others and how they live,
Hmm.
then you become one of these, you know, really sick narcissists.
Well, what's
And
the old saying? The tree don't do what it say. The apple don't fall far from the tree. So I
exactly.
mean, when you look at his daddy and how his daddy did things here in this country, man. I mean, like I said, the apple don't fall far from the tree. He was very
And
much
that's true.
influenced by the Ku Klux Klan. So
Well, he was
he
arrested at a Klan rally.
right on 34th Street. Yeah, I remember that.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So like I said,
So,
what did he? What would he teach his son other than to be a racist and
well, yeah,
to be a rich racist?
right. You know, and I mean, it's pretty well known in New York that the Trump family would not allow blacks to move into their apartment buildings, right? It just, unless you had somebody, a Caucasian friend that was willing to sign a lease for you and act as the front man, you were not getting into a Trump residence. It just was not going
Remember
to happen.
I'm just gonna tell you. Remember back in the day? I don't know if people still do it, but if I wanted to move into a nice home, I get a white friend,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they would be my face to go in and investigate the home. But when you got
Hmm.
to the closing, I would show up.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what they had to do dealing with the Trump family, right? Um, but I was watching the news and reading up, New York Times and things like that, and Trump is talking about another round of tariffs
Mm-hmm.
against the European Union and against the Chinese. And there's a good documentary called um, China versus the U.S. Right? I saw it on Tubi, and it shows that China has outproduced America. I mean, economically, militarily, in almost every area, China is way ahead of the United States. And in terms of the military, well, America has just under 300 naval vessels. China has about 350, and they're constantly adding to their navy because they realize that they have to be able to exert power just the way that the United States does.
Mm-hmm.
China has been annexing countries or small islands in the Pacific because just like what we did, which really started this conflict in Ukraine, America and the NATO allies have surrounded Vladimir Putin with offensive weapons. Weapons that Gorbachev and Reagan agreed would never be placed into the former Soviet republics. It was a gentleman's agreement. Well, as soon as the Soviet Union collapsed, America went into high gear, putting these weapons, boosting NATO, and then putting these weapons to surround Vladimir Putin. And we talk about how bad Vladimir Putin is. But when Russia put missiles into Cuba, America was ready to go to war.
Yeah. Well.
So
Yeah.
what's the difference? Why was it not okay for Russia to do it, but it's okay for America to do it? What is the difference? Doesn't the UN Charter, doesn't that affect every member of the UN, every member of the Security Council? So why is it that we can ignore these rules in some instances, but in others, well, we have to act. According to the UN Charter, every member of the Security Council has to take definitive action when there are acts of genocide being committed. But we ain't saying a damn thing to Netanyahu,
Not
and
a damn word.
he's not a word, and he's continuously bombing away at defenseless people. He's not even, if you notice, over the last couple of months, they haven't even used the term Hamas, haven't even mentioned the group. They're killing innocent people, mostly women and children.
Yeah, we
And
talked about that,
America,
man. Bro. We talked about
yeah.
that before, man. They're doing the same
hmm
thing that the Pilgrims did when they came here. It's the same old story, man. This is
hmm
just a repeat. They're doing just a repeat, like Trump is doing a repeat of Hitler. It's just a repeat, man. You know.
History's repetitive. History repeats itself, and that's what's happening, right?
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
we thought that after the fall of Nazi Germany, we wouldn't see this sort of thing again. Well, we see it now,
We
right?
see it now.
You know, I often wondered what happened to the German people. Why would they follow this narcissistic person who was clearly emotionally and psychologically disturbed?
Just the
I don't
same
ask
reason
those
they do.
questions anymore because I see it happening in real time.
But a lot of
That
it's due to propaganda. Now you remember Hitler got control of the media. Trump has got control of the media. Hitler got control of the government. Trump has got
hmm
control of the government. Because
hmm
we could say that the Supreme Court is the one supposed to make the rules or say this, but they seem to be down with him. Like what he did, 1,400 educators from their Department of Education, boom, fired, and the Supreme Court
hmm
saying the Supreme Court is saying it's okay. So the Supreme Court is down with him. So again, this is history repeating itself again. They're using the same old tactics that they used years ago. You know?
Well, what he did was Trump in his first term stacked the court, right? Um, with these conservative justices. Now, when Biden was elected, one of the things that you heard, some of the talk you heard on Fox News was, oh, Biden's going to stack the court. He's going to add more justices as long as you have an uneven number, right? Then you can expand the court. And they were saying, oh, it would be wrong for him to expand the court because they knew that if a Republican like Trump got back in there, then his agenda, which is really Project 2025's agenda,
Yep.
would be adopted by the Supreme Court. And we do things like getting rid of Roe v. Wade. We do things like ending birthright citizenship. We do
Affirmative
things
action.
like denying people, well, taking away affirmative action, taking away people's 14th Amendment right to due process, right? So they knew this. So they didn't want to see him expand the court so that there would be some balance. That's something that I think was a miss for Biden. I think he should have expanded the court to maybe 13 so that he could have appointed moderate justices so that there would be some balance. Because right now, it's pretty much 5-4 most of the time.
Yeah.
And on occasion, you might get some of the more moderate justices who are swayed by the other arch conservative justices to go along.
Yeah,
And as long as that's the case, yeah.
Miss Jackson.
Right.
You know, she may be the opposing vote for all of those people.
Yeah, I was happy.
I mean,
to see her.
I can't imagine her. Just knowing what I know about her, I just can't imagine her saying yay to this 2025 project and the things that are coming out of it. Like what we were talking about, Gomez. Remember Gomez?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Then the things that he was saying.
And
I got a clip from.
I know
Gomez.
you got that clip.
We'll play it in a minute. We'll play it in a minute. Go ahead. Say what you're going to say, brother.
Well, you mentioned Gomez, right? And you probably have the clip that shows for the poorest Americans. I'm talking about the poorest, the hardest working Americans. Under this bill, this big, beautiful bill, their tax rate is going to increase nearly 75%.
Mm-hmm.
Just imagine. Now they're talking about people making $15,000, which is people around here, right?
Yep.
You're making $15,000. Your effective tax rate becomes 75%. what does your paycheck look like after 2 weeks? I mean, it's insane. And of course, if they're paying 75% on the lowest rung of the socioeconomic ladder, the people at the top are paying almost nothing. And if you look at, and these are things, tax is a public record. If you look,
Mhm.
corporations like Exxon, they get a tax refund. Jeff Bezos, refund. Elon Musk, refund. How is that possible? And it's possible because that the poorest, hardest working people are paying the bulk of the taxes. And here's something that's really insane. Trump is going to raise under this bill, tax rate becomes about
Uh, uh,
75%,
was it
right?
August 1st? Is it August 1st? He wants to.
Well, whenever he gets well, he signed it already. I mean, there's some revisions they're trying to make, but once it goes into effect, now you're already going to hammer these people with this huge tax increase. Yet at the same time, he's rounding up the farm workers. He's rounding up the people that would be the ones to pay the taxes, right? The people that work, domestics, people that work in stores, people that work on farms. These are the people that are making
A lot of them,
$15,000 a year
a lot of them haven't been showing up for work either.
because they're terrified.
Mm-hmm.
So who's going to fill those jobs and who's going to pay the 75%?
The kids. Remember we talked about that? He wants to change the child law as to
I know
when
he
they can
does.
work. He wants to bring it down to 7 years old or something like that.
I know they were talking about kids, I think 15 up to age 15 and over could work overnight when they were not in school, right?
Mm.
Well, who's going to send their kids out in the middle of the night to work an overnight shift? Now, we had done away with this in the 19th century, with the child labor or the anti-child labor law that ended the practice. But again, the American people are sitting back and allowing this to happen because all we seem to be concerned about are really two issues: the Jeffrey Epstein files, and the other one is don't take my damn gun, right? I've got to have a gun, right? I've got to have multiple guns,
That's
right?
right. I was gonna
Second
say the
Amendment
Second
is
Amendment,
sacred,
right?
right? Anything else, you could take my pension, you could take my house, you could take my life savings, you could take my ability to send my child to college, you could take my 401k,
Hey,
you
yeah.
could take all of that, but
You
give
can
me
take
my
away
gun.
unions.
You could
Yeah.
take away the union, just give me my gun and tell me what's in that damn Epstein file, and I can die happy.
Let's play
It's
this clip, man.
insane. All right.
Let's run this clip, man. Okay, here we go. Where we at?
Are you for seniors or the billionaires? Are you for rural communities or the billionaires? Are you for working men and women who are struggling in this economy, who are struggling to save up, to take care of a sick family member, to start a small business, to put a child through college? Are you for the billionaires? Words are cheap. It's your vote that matters. And we all know how you're going to vote. And you're going to say that you're not taking from the poor, that you're not taking from the middle class. So I want you to be honest with the American people. Stop pissing on our leg and telling us it's raining. With that, I yield back.
My man said, "Stop pissing on my leg."
Right, and saying it's rainy. But you know what? It works, right? I'm not sure how, because for administrations before Trump, 2.0, anybody that talked about cutting Medicaid, cutting Medicare, cutting these domestic programs that people rely on just to live, they would have been run out of office.
Most definitely.
But now you have this guy,
Just
and they
imagine.
say
One
that
second. Just imagine.
Obama,
That's what I was gonna
yeah.
say. Just imagine if Obama had done half of what Trump is doing. He'd probably be in jail.
Oh no, he wouldn't be in jail. He'd be lynched. Remember when they had the insurrection and they had a noose
Right.
and they said it was for Mike Pence?
Right.
Just imagine if Obama had done that,
Oh my
right?
Lord.
He would have been hanging from that noose. No doubt about it. No doubt in my mind at all,
Mm.
right? Because it's okay for Trump to do it because Trump is the great businessman. Trump has convinced these people that he knows business.
Now
He
here's a
knows
question.
foreign policy. He knows domestic policy, and he's a moron.
Got a question for you. So
Hmm.
how many successful businesses have Trump had?
Altogether, none.
Mm.
None. Um, a lot of people are confused. So right now, Donald Trump, his name is on many, many properties.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those properties, his name is on because he sells the naming rights.
Mm-hmm.
Trump doesn't even own Trump Tower anymore,
Mm.
right? He might have an apartment still there, but he doesn't own it. So he sells his name for millions of dollars, but he doesn't own the properties. And you have to keep in mind the great businessman that he is filed for bankruptcy 6 times.
6 times.
Six. So think about it, right? One, okay, that's a run of bad luck. Two, that's questionable. But six, you got to be borderline retarded, right? 6 times.
Or a
And
hell of
of
a
the
good
business,
or a hell of a good thief.
well, that too. But of the businesses he ran, none of them, or the businesses he started, none of them are currently still in operation. None.
Mm.
So a lot of people were introduced to Donald Trump through the show The Apprentice.
Mm-hmm.
For you and I being from New York, we knew about Trump. We knew about the lies and the half truths and the disinformation. Right. When he was talking about he was the biggest builder in New York. And he wasn't.
Mm.
It was Tisch or Wakeman and what was it, Cushman and Wakefield. They were the
Wakefield.
biggest, right? They were the biggest builders. He wasn't even in the top five. But of course, Trump always lied. And of course, if you tell a lie loud enough and long enough, it becomes true. So for a lot of these people that follow Trump, they think and they tend to believe everything he says.
Of course they do.
And what's amazing to me is that not only is it the American people that are putting their lives, their welfare on the line, it's also the Republican Party.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
How?
the next round, bro, it's going to be a little different. The next round, if we still have voting, it's going to be a little different. I think a lot of Republicans are going to fall by the wayside. I don't think a lot of them are going to get back into office. And if you notice, the ones that know they're not going to get back into office, they've been sort of rebellion. They've been
Well,
rebelling
they
against Trump.
well they have been bowing out, like Tom Tillis down in North Carolina. He said, "I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to seek reelection because he
Mm-hmm.
knows he can't win because so much of his constituency is on Medicaid, on Medicare, and is using these supplemental food programs, right? So there's no way. What are you going to go back to them and say, I'm bringing to you? I'm bringing to you nothing. In fact, I'm taking what you have. So there's
Mm-hmm.
no way he can win again. I've said this before. I can almost guarantee, I can almost smell it as we get closer to the midterm elections. There's going to be some event that's going to lead Trump to declare martial law. He's already been talking about it. He's already got Marines in California. He's got the National Guard
The
out there as
guards out
well.
there.
Right.
Got the
So,
tanks out there, the armored vehicles out there. You got the guys riding around in horses. What was that? MacArthur's Park, and
yes,
they're still going back and forth through MacArthur's Park.
right.
Looking for migrants or anyone that they suspect is being a migrant, so they can snatch them up, throw them in the vehicle. I still don't understand this. Like, how is it possible they can walk around with no identification? They're wearing masks, and they're just snatching people up out of the street and throw them in the back of the van, and that's it.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. According to the Constitution and state law, you have an absolute right to defend yourself.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are saying, well, I'm not going to fight back because this is law enforcement. Well, how do you know? A state senator and her husband were killed in Minnesota by a guy who appeared to be a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
Then he went down the road to another state senator and shot him and his wife. Fortunately, they survived. But how do you know who's grabbing you up? How
Mm-hmm.
do you know who's under that mask? You have an absolute right to defend yourself. Did you see what happened in Brooklyn
Yeah,
when
I was
ICE
gonna
showed
say.
up?
Right, sure, man. That was
Eh,
a tussle, man. They were fighting, bro. They weren't letting those they weren't allowing ICE to come in and just snatch people up like they normally do.
Because they have absolutely no right to do that. And the
Mm-hmm.
head of I guess the Department of Homeland Security, or at least that section anyway, Tom Homan, he
Yeah.
went on TV and said that one, ICE does not need probable cause. That's a lie. The federal government, federal agents cannot arrest you without a warrant. The only exception is if something happens right in front of them. So somebody pulls out a gun and shoots somebody,
Right.
you can make an arrest. But other than that, if you're investigating, you have to present that information to a judge and have a warrant drawn up, signed by the judge, and then you make the arrest. So these guys, what they're doing is they're showing up, they're going fishing.
Well, they already
They
said
show
what they're
up.
doing is illegal. I mean, everybody
Oh, it's
knows what
that.
they're doing is illegal, but they're
And
doing
that's
it
why the
anyway,
Haitians, and
and they're
that's why
getting
the
away with it.
Haitians opened up a can of whoop ass, right? That's why in California you saw Mexicans open up a can of whoop ass,
They
right?
sure did.
Because we don't have to take this, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do to us? Either we fight now or we end up in El Salvador or we end up in Sudan or some other country where we've never been to, where
Yo,
we have no rights.
let me tell
Mhm.
you who I heard recently during today. Um what do you call the Black Lives Matter movement.
Uh-huh.
Seems like they're picking it up and swinging again. They're doing their thing. And I was listening to one reporter. She was asking the young man, "Why are you such a violent people?" And my man, he said, "Look, man, you people come here, you beat us like slaves. Everything you people do is violent. You
Hmm.
go and you take over a country violently. You get involved and you put people in office in public space. You do it violently. When we try to protect ourselves, then we're labeled as criminals and violent criminals. Okay, and that's the type of attitude that's gonna bring down that martial law.
Well, I'll tell you something, right? This was interesting. So up until the early 1970s, the IRA, or the Irish Republican Army, was
Mm-hmm.
considered a terrorist organization by the English and the American government. Well, as the Irish organized in this country and said, hey, this is not the case. These people are fighting 800 years of British rule. They have a right to self governance. So the IRA was removed from the list of terrorist organizations. Then you take somebody like Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela, 27 years on Robben Island, gets out of prison and becomes the president of South Africa. Do you know when he was president of South Africa, he was still on the terrorist watch list in this country?
Mm-hmm.
Still on the terrorist watch list. So how is it the Irish have a right to self-governance, but the people in South Africa don't?
Come on, brother.
How
You
is
know
it
why?
that the people in Gaza do not have the right to self-governance?
You already know why, man.
Yeah, but these are things that need to be brought out, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, they support Israel, not understanding one, the history of Israel. How did they get there? How did they get control of this land? Why are they killing these people? And, not only is it, of course, the media that's shaping the narrative, but also it's religious. Because a
Mhm.
lot of these people in this country, Christians say, we have to pray for Israel. We have to support the people of Israel because God said that these are the chosen people. God never said that Netanyahu was chosen. God never said that the hardliners in the Likud party were chosen. In fact, if you read the scripture, and it makes it very, very clear, Solomon said, I'm black. He said this much in the scripture. He said, I am a black man. So if Solomon is black and David, the greatest king of Egypt, is in a direct lineage of Solomon, who are these people over there talking about? We are chosen people. Who are these curly head Caucasians? If the Bible says the man was black. So
Hey,
something is wrong.
well, what did it say? Bronze feet, the feet with the color of bronze, and that hair like the wool of a sheep.
Yeah, hair like lamb's wool, feet like burned in brass. So this is the Son of Man we're talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But they're
man.
telling us, despite all of that, no, it's not you. And you know something?
Mm,
Here's the thing. The Bible says that the descendants of Israel would be taken as captives, right?
mm,
Okay. In Genesis, it says that they would be in a strange land among strange people.
mm,
Here's the thing. They say that the so-called Jews that are there now, they say they walked into Egypt because they were there to buy grain, right? Joseph and his brothers went to buy grain. Well, if you go there every year, they're not strange people.
that's
And
true.
if you walk there, that means you live walking distance from these people. It damn sure ain't strange.
Yeah,
So we're not talking about these folks. We're talking about somebody else.
yeah.
And if you look into the book of Deuteronomy, 28th chapter, verse 68, and it said, and the Lord shall send you back to Egypt, this time on ships. Now they can never debate who they put on ships.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
So I would love to have somebody who is a rabbi or something explain to me that particular scripture about these people who were put on ships. Who are they and where are they now?
Mm. You know, this woman, she's 80 years old. So I just want to bring it back to a little bit of politics. She's 80 years old, and her name is Coleman, Miss Coleman, and she's a state representative. I just want to play something to show the strength of our people and how we're not going to take that, excuse my language, we're not taking the bullshit. Okay? Hold on now.
Absolutely.
The other thing that really troubles me, sir, is LIHEAP. It is a program specifically to address the needs of low income and minority families as it relates to heating and even air conditioning. Why? And what is your rationale for eliminating that program specifically? Why?
I'm
And
very
what?
committed to LIHEAP. My brother ran a low.
I don't care about your past. I care about your functioning in this department, in this administration right now in response to this question.
My time has expired.
Oh, well, then so has your legitimacy.
Now, see, that's the type of strength that we need in
Mhm.
in politics and in our, as far as the Democrats are concerned, because they always say the Democrats are weak. But like I said, both of us, we listen to Jasmine Crockett, and she's got a lot to
Mhm.
say. Man. She kind of sounds like Miss Coleman. You know,
And,
I
and,
kind of,
and
we
you know
listen to
what?
Miss. Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Well, you know what's sad, right? If you notice, it's the sisters that are stepping up. Where's the
Hey,
brothers?
hey,
Where are they?
we
Why are they
right here.
sitting back? No, I don't mean us. I mean in Congress. Why are they sitting back and letting the sisters out there, leaving sisters out there on the front line? Where are they?
Mm,
You
mm.
know what I mean? You don't really hear too much from Hakeem Jeffries. Not enough,
No,
right?
not enough.
Where are these? Where is the Congressional Black Caucus? Where are they?
Mm,
These sisters have a target on their back. But
mm,
you notice the Congressional Black Caucus, they've been pretty quiet.
mm,
What are they doing?
mm. That's a damn good question. As a matter of fact,
We need to ask them.
I got a question for pretty much all of those type of organizations. What are they doing? I'm not just talking about in politics. I mean, in general, we have our communities here, but we need our kids to be educated. We got, even in Monroe County, we what is it, over 1,000 families every night that are homeless. They could,
Hmm.
without homes, or without shelter, as they call it, right? We have, what are these people doing about those type of situations? I see them get awards, but I'm just wondering, what are they for? What are they getting an award for? What contributions have been made to the community? We have quite a few little organizations, and a lot of them, they barely talk to each other. It's almost like if they're in competition with each other. But these
Hmm.
communities were set up to help us in our community. And I'm just wondering, what programs, what mentorship programs do we have? What programs do we, other than my man Chacon, when he came on the other day, what the heck is it? Deshaun Chacon, and he runs
Hmm.
the youth empowerment service. Other than somebody like him, I'm still wondering, what do we do? NAACP, all these other different organizations. What do we do
You
besides
know,
boots on the ground?
we know what the short answer is: nothing.
Mm,
And when you talk about awards, Netanyahu wants to see to it that Trump gets the Nobel Peace Prize, right?
mm,
Peace Prize for what?
mm.
He claimed that he stopped a war between Pakistan and India. Well, both governments have said Trump didn't have a damn thing to do with that. We negotiated amongst ourselves,
That was.
and we ended that conflict. Trump had nothing to do with it. But he's sitting at a press conference saying, "Did anybody write that story? No one wrote that. I stopped the war." The idea is they give each other pats on the backs, they hand each other these prestigious awards, but what are you doing to earn them?
That's
And
always my
and
question.
the problem is this, right? We have become so reliant upon the government that if the government, like what they're doing now, cuts off funding, then what are you going to do? If you look around Monroe County, there are a number of soup kitchens, or not soup kitchens, but pantries
Yeah.
that gave out food. How many of those pantries are still giving out food?
Hmm.
A lot of them don't have anything on their shelves because the government decided, to hell with you. We don't care if you starve. Anytime a man, he's going to take away your health care, take away your food off your kids' tables, cut things like milk in school. How much more do you need to see for the man to tell you, I don't give a damn about you?
Hmm.
Maya Angelou put it beautifully. She said, when a person shows you are the first
Believe,
time, believe
believe.
them. Don't wait for second, third, and fourth.
Nope.
Believe them because they're showing you who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were confused about Trump in his first term, ain't no confusion now. It is clear what is happening, not just in this country, but around the world. And
Mm-hmm.
what Trump is doing is what he's always done. Anything Trump put his hand to, he destroyed.
Mm.
And America is no different.
No different.
America is in a lot of trouble. This world is in a,
Oh,
and without leadership,
oh.
it's like you're on a butter, and we don't have any leadership.
Right. All right. I think we come down to the end of this program. We're going to slide back into next week on Tuesday. We're going to pick this back up. But I would like to say one quote. Hanny Lou Famer, she had a little quote, and one of her quote was, "You can pray until you faint, but if you don't get up
Hmm.
off your ass and do something about it, God is not going to put it in your lap." So I hear a lot of religious people, they say faith without works. So I'm
Hmm.
looking for I want to see some of the work. That's what I want to see. I see a lot
Hmm.
of people, they praise God and they throw their hand up and they believe in God and they have this belief, but I want to see what the work is. Because
Hmm.
we got a lot of problems out here within the black community, man. We got a lot of problems that need to be taken care of. I want to
Hmm.
see I want to see the work. That's all. And if
You and
anybody
me
wants,
both, brother.
I tell you, I told you before, I would love to figure out a way to start some sort of mentorship program to maybe teach them programs or something to kids. I would love to get involved in something like that. Yeah,
Hmm.
I have the education for it. I got an educational background, even as an educator. I still have a little bit of that going on. So what I'm saying is, I would love to participate, and I think anybody and everybody can do something to participate.
Realistically, It's our responsibility. We cannot rely on others to
Mhm.
educate our children, to give them a sense of direction, to be a role model. That's our responsibility. If we're not going to do it, it's like Dr. King said, it's left to us.
Mm,
Who else is going to do it?
mm,
We're sitting here as black people waiting for the sky to part and Jesus to walk through. But in the interim, how are we going to survive?
mm, 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 mm. All right, like I said, we're gonna come to a close. We're starting to get a little philosophical. We're supposed to be we're supposed to get into politics, you know what I mean? So
Right.
all right, so we're gonna pick it up next week, and we'll talk a little bit more about politics because Trump is gonna do something anyway crazy, and there's gonna be some crazy stuff that goes on during the week. Maybe even Friday we'll pick it up with that an update of the week.
Sounds good, brother.
All right, and you guys that are watching, I appreciate you guys watching because a lot of you guys kind of tuned in, and we really appreciate you guys tuning in. I'd like you to also make sure that you tune in and check out this brother, Ronald Yates. He has a show, and it's at Genesis Radio. Comes on Thursday. He's there between 6 and 7. That's genesisradio.com. So you can, if you don't know what it is, you can look it up on Google. But listen to what the brother has to say. Yes, he gets a little philosophical, but my man's
Every
always
now and
right on
then.
point. The brother's
But
always
just one correction. I'm 5 to 6 now.
Oh, you're 5 to 6 now. You
5
changed
to
up?
6 now. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, is that better
Moved up
for
a
you?
little bit earlier. It
Is that
is.
better? Okay.
It
So
is.
from 5 to 6, we're putting it out there now. From 5 to 6. Okay. Don't forget about unity in the community. That's coming up in August.
Absolutely.
What is that? August 14th? Something like that?
I think it's the 16th.
No, well, they can always look that up online too. That's
They can.
everybody walks around with a phone. Now you got to put in unity in the community and it'll tell you where and when it's going to be. I can tell you where it's going to be at Dansbury Park. So bring your kids. Everybody have a good time. As always, brother, it's always good talking to you. So peace.
Good talking to you, brother. Peace.
Yeah.